I just hated when a guy thought he could guard me, to be honest with you. I'm like, dude, please, just work hard, but you can't stop me.
Before we start, I want you to picture something. You are one of the greatest players alive. You just won the MVP. You are 30 years old and you're at the absolute peak of your powers. And a 20-year-old rookie who has never played a single playoff game in his life puts you in a Nike commercial and dunks on you and then borrows your own most famous quote and throws it right back in your face on national television before the playoffs. Now, what do you do? Charles Barkley had a very specific answer to that question, and it happened in 3 games. This is that story. The 1994 playoffs were not even started before Chris Webber began dissing Charles Barkley on national TV. In the Nike commercial, Webber talks up his behind-the-back one-handed fast break dunk over Barkley in the first game of the 1993-94 season between the Warriors and Suns. Webber was telling to his friend Latrell Sprewell Charles Barkley's famous words at the end, "I don't believe in role models, but you're mine." Barkley said the quote was false. It happened only with his approval. Barkley overruled his agent to permit Nike, which supplied shoes for both players, to shoot it. He had an unlucky regular season after winning his first and the last league MVP in '93, went through a sore back and torn tendon in his knee. And surprisingly, Charles Barkley and the Suns would face Chris Webber and his Golden State Warriors, coached by Don Nelson. The Warriors were a trash-talking young team combining Webber and Latrell Sprewell. Charles was asked if he expected the Warriors coach Don Nelson to react into his bag of matchup tricks to get an edge in the series.
"You're not gonna double me?" So Nelly says, "We're not gonna double you tonight." I says, "You're not?"
Phoenix expected Latrell Sprewell to use his quickness on Charles Barkley or all kinds of different things. Golden State thought so much about guarding Charles, rookie Chris Webber, and then Chris Gatling, both 6'10", or reserve 250-pound forward Byron Houston, Billy Owens, or even Arizona small forward Judd Buechler. How many points I'm averaging against them? How many rebounds? They better try something different. Healthy Charles Barkley had done just whatever he had wanted against Golden State that year. He averaged 31.7 points and 11.3 rebounds in 3 games in the regular season. The plan was to double-team Barkley, front him, run at him when he catches the ball, or they might decide not to double-team him at all. Instead, they might try to wear him out, put a fresh guy on him every 4 minutes. So there's the plan. On paper, Golden State has options. Fresh bodies, matchup tricks, Don Nelson being Don Nelson. Game 1, Don Nelson decides no double team. 1-on-1. Let's see what Barkley's got. The old Celtics philosophy, since Don Nelson was the Warriors coach, Don Nelson did not double team Barkley in Game 1. Instead, he picked up a loose ball and threw down a dunk, scored on a driving layup, and stared at Chris Gatling, who fouled him, swished a 3-point shot, scored over Billy Owens, who hacked him, and made the foul shot, spun around Byron Houston for a layup. Sir Charles was warming up early in the game. As Barkley predicted, no double team, the Warriors paid dearly for that strategy, 18 points and 11 rebounds quickly. 11 of the Suns' final 17 points. Sir Charles made the game's biggest play with 17 seconds left. The Suns leading by 3, he beat Chris Webber in the paint, rebounded Kevin Johnson's missed free throw, and scored 36 points, 19 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals. A monster Game 1. I take that back. You do learn sort of certain things. I learned that Barkley is still a good player. He is back regardless. And I learned we don't want to be embarrassed and we've got to come back and win. Chris Webber was victimized as Barkley gave a clinic, but unfortunately he couldn't stop him one-on-one. To answer Webber's Nike ad, Charles Barkley made his film. It was more of an educational video, a basketball clinic. Several times Webber was isolated on Barkley and it was no contest. Charles used a spin move or blew right past or hit a shot over Webber. I don't think there's one person in the league who can stop a player like Charles Barkley, so it's very hard to stop him one-on-one. 36-19 Game 1. You'd think that would quiet a locker room? It didn't. Not only Webber, but Latrell Sprewell came at Barkley full swing early in the regular season and the playoffs. He also needed a teaching lesson. As expected, the Warriors started doubling Barkley after his epic Game 1, but Chuck found open teammates with 8 assists next to his 20 points. This time, Kevin Johnson exploded with 38 points. Mark West, AC Green all played big, and Sprewell and Webber were still talking trash when the game was over. Charles Barkley said, "I've never seen a team talk so much mess." While Chris Webber was staring down at the Suns bench, his teammate Sprewell was doing the trash-talking job. After throwing a nasty dunk with 3.9 seconds left in the first half, a jam that gave the jacked-up Warriors a 56-53 lead, Sprewell got in Barkley's face and started talking trash. Barkley could have talked back, but he didn't. He said, "Just play the game." Sir Charles knew that the series was over. Webber and Sprewell talked a lot, but Don Nelson wanted to see his players with more playing and less talking. The trash-talking Warriors were on the edge of elimination, and Barkley had to answer trash-talking youngsters with a strong Game 3 and a friendly farewell to Don Nelson and his doubling hacking tactics. 2 games, 2 Suns wins, 2 basketball clinics, and Webber and Sprewell are still talking. Game 3, Oakland. I want you to know something about this game before we got into it. The Oakland Coliseum Arena, in its original form, was scheduled for demolition and full renovation after this season. Whatever happened inside that building on this night was going to be the last playoff memory those walls ever held. Charles Barkley, bad back, torn tendon, 2 weeks of trash talk, a Nike commercial, a rookie who'd been running his mouth since October, and Chuckster walked in there and put on one of the greatest individual performances in NBA playoff history. The Chuckster didn't miss a shot in the first quarter and didn't slow down. He's total tied for the 3rd best in playoff history, behind Michael Jordan's 63 and Elgin Baylor's 61. His display was the exclamation point to the previous 2 games. It was a good workout. It was 3 tough games. The first one was rough, the second one was rough, and the third one was the roughest of them all. Sir Charles dared the Warriors to play him one-on-one this time, and Don Nelson took the dare, and Barkley made them pay dearly for it. After scoring the Suns' first 12 points, he ran by Don Nelson and asked him, "You going to double me?" Nelson said no.
So I scored like 17 points the first quarter, so I run over again. I said, "Let me ask you, you're not gonna double me." He says, "You can get as many as you want." I said, "Okay."
And Barkley went on to score 27 points in the 3rd period despite his aching back. Nobody thought he was going to make all his shots. Instead, he had one of the most spectacular games the NBA ever witnessed. 56 points at the end, Chuckster's 38 first half points set an NBA playoff record, and he finished the series with 112 points. If you take away the drive, he has a jump shot. Take away the jump shot, he has the drive. It is hard, and you caught in between. Billy Owens, Chris Gatling, Chris Webber, Latrell Sprewell, and the Warriors squad faced an angry Charles Barkley in Game 3. Trailing 107-106 entering in the final period, the Suns built their lead to 125-117 with 7:35 to play when Sir Charles converted a 3-point play and notched his 50th point. The Warriors cut the lead to 131-129 on a basket by Sprewell, but couldn't get any closer because Phoenix missed 3 of their 19 shots in the final period. The Warriors talked the talk, but Barkley walked the walk and said the last word after the 3-game high-scoring trash-talking series. Chris Webber spoke to Charles after the 56-point game and said, "I'm going to take your place in the future." It was an apology after the Nike ad and the touting in the regular and playoff games. And Charles said, "Who's your role model now?" 112 points in 3 games on a bad back against a team that spent 2 weeks telling the world the torch was being passed. Chris Webber went on to have a brilliant career. He was right eventually. He did take Barkley's place in the conversation, but on that night mattered. In the building that never saw another playoff game in the same room, the old man gave a 20-year-old a lesson he never forgot. The Warriors didn't make the playoffs again for 13 years. Webber was traded that summer. The whole thing dissolved. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.